Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk animated shows and movies here, especially Miraculous Ladybug and the Owl House. Find everything about us at overlyanimated.com. I'm your host, Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
And Alex Bonilla.
Hello.
We are back to talk Dead End Paranormal Park Season 2, which dropped last week on Netflix, and we have seen the entire season, and we will discuss everything about this big season of Dead End. We previously discussed Season 1 of Dead End, so you can check out that podcast. Search on Overly Animated for it, or you can check wherever you're listening to the podcast, search our feed prior to it. I thought it was like more than like 4 months ago, but apparently that was all it was. But that was surprising when I looked back on when Dead End Season 1 came out. It felt like longer. We're going to get into spoilers right away. However, we did have a spoiler-free section at the beginning of our Season 1 podcast, so check that out if you've not checked out Dead End. You want to hear what we think about it. I would find the Season 1 podcast, listen to the beginning of that, and you can hear our general thoughts. So, we're going to put up a spoiler warning for Season 2 of Dead End Paranormal Park here. Which I will say, I think we didn't know it existed during that first podcast. I saw creator Hamish Dale on Twitter call us the middle chapter, so I am presuming there will be a Season 3 at some point soon. So that's
definitely a setup at the end of the season to continue on, yeah. Yeah,
and I presume that they have made it, or like they're finishing it up. Like, I think this was probably a 30-episode order type thing, like Kipo got. Because, this season came out very quickly after the last one, so it was made alongside Season 1, you would assume. Okay, but potential middle season of Dead End. We've seen it all. Again, spoiler warning for all of Season 2 of Dead End. Let's get into it. Delaney, what did you think of this season?
It was great. Just good old Dead End. I feel like this season didn't take as long to kind of like kick into gear as the first season. Like it was a little bit less Monster of the Week, which is fine. Which isn't necessarily like a bad thing about Season 1. This season hurt me emotionally, so that's rude.
What hurt you?
Badyah being straight is the worst thing that's ever happened. Like, really? And also, if I had a nickel for every time someone has to, like, confess their feelings and get rejected on a Ferris wheel, I'd have 2 nickels, but still. Super weird.
Yeah. Credit Tanya for that. Kipo is the other
one. Yeah, credit to Tanya. Tanya thinks she's real funny.
No, that's a good shout.
It is. Also, the animation this season was, like, not that the animation was, like, bad last season, but I really enjoyed what they were doing with, like, the Ring of Fire, and, like, there's been some really gorgeous shots this season.
Nice.
Oh, and then also they killed the dog. That's messed up. Like, what's wrong with this show?
Yeah, so much messed up.
And then, I guess technically he's not dead, but I'm still mad about it.
Yeah, we'll discuss if he's dead.
I was like, are you serious? Especially after the first season where they faked killing Pugsley. Like, come on, guys.
Any one favorite part of the season, Delaney?
I really liked the wrestling episode and the Evil Twin episode, and also I'm kind of into Zagan and Norma. Like, it's kind of a thing.
Okay. Is that happening in Season 3?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we're gonna get your favorite thing. We're gonna have, like, Dark Norma.
Yeah. I mean, did Norma's Evil Twin count as Dark Norma?
Well, no, I mean, like, Norma's, like...
The actual Dark Norma.
Yeah, the actual Dark Norma. Because Norma's
Norma
like,
arc,
angels hurt us. I want to hurt them back. Like, what are you going to do, Norma? Jeez.
I mean, you can get the demons on your side, apparently. Yeah.
I mean, when you have a vampire girlfriend.
Okay.
Which, how does that work? Was she, like, already a demon and she's a vampire, or...
These are good questions. Okay, maybe we'll discuss.
It's like Marceline from Adventure Time.
Yeah, I interpret it as Zagan was human and she's a demon because she's a vampire now, but I don't know. We'll get into it. Okay, Alex, what about you? What did you think of Dead End Season 2?
I definitely had fun with it. I agree with Delaney that it because it's not doing the Monster of the Week structure, it gets going into its plot pretty fast. And I mean, I definitely after first season being very demon heavy, it's nice. It does feel like a real shake up to explore more of the angel side of things in this season and like get a look at that whole aesthetic. I mean, especially near the end of the season where we're like fully on in the angel realm, they're having a lot of fun with the designs of the characters and just the look of the place. I really liked. I think that it continues to be a strength when they have time to look into the our main character struggles, especially Barney and Norma, and them figuring themselves out and how to relate to the people around them in different ways. I think that at least for me, my favorite part of the show is that side of things versus the actual angel demon story. Like I just like seeing, especially Norma in this season, go through the roller coaster of emotions and try to figure out like who she can like trust and talk about these things with and like come to her conclusions. Like it's great it feels great. It feels very rewarding to see that stuff follow through. Yeah, so like it goes it definitely goes pretty quickly, and I think that I would like to talk about some of the story stuff because I feel like there's probably stuff that I overlooked or got lost at times because of how complicated it sometimes feels. But I'm interested to see where season 3 goes. But yeah, I think the strength of this remains Barney and Norma just living life and trying to figure out how to exist amidst all this chaos.
Yeah. Okay. We'll try to hit on the major plot stuff. Also, we'll see if we have some answers. Agree. I liked the season of Dead End a lot, and I agree with Alex. The highlights being the character work of the season and kind of the character arcs. Norma was fantastic this season. I think that's a big highlight. Episode 7 with Norma being bi, talking to her mom. This is by far my favorite part of the season. Episode 7, I love it so much. I rewatched it today. I am completely in love with everything about this episode and definitely gonna talk about it all here. The plot stuff, I'm also not as into the angel demon stuff as everything else in the show, and I think we talked about that at the end of the season 1 podcast. It's like, okay, the musical episode, great. The actual finale, I mean, it was fun, but like, how much do we care about this demon world kind of thing? And so I think season 2 goes heavy into it, right? So that's a little bit of if you're not as into that stuff, I think that can be a little bit of a challenge. I think it got there in the end. I think it was very fun stuff in the last 2 episodes. So we'll talk about that. That being said, I still wasn't as into the angel stuff before kind of the finales episodes. And how about, this is one of my strongest takes of the season. We got to episode 7, and eventually it becomes clear that here Pauline is back, and I missed her so much.
Really?
I missed Pauline so much before episode 7. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I didn't know I loved Pauline so much. I'm Norma's not a stan anymore, but I'm a Pauline stan. Wow. And I thought she was so funny in the last few episodes. And that, I guess it's like overall with the season, it felt like we traded Pauline a little bit for Angel lore. And I did not like that trade personally. Mm-hmm. Just me though. Not like we got a ton of Pauline until like the second half of the first season, but I feel like she was present in the general world of the show, and that was just so fascinating to me. Like, what is this park in this world where she's like this big star? It definitely a lot less of that until episode 7 this season, and then but it delivered once she got back into the mix. So I was really loving when Pauline came back, and yeah, I mean the finale, and then I guess the other really big impressive thing about the finale is that it really incorporates every episode from the season and makes them all feel important at the end, even though I felt, even if they weren't Monster of the Week, I was like, okay, this feels, maybe everything that's happening in this episode isn't super consequential. It all gets tied together at the end. I did think that was pretty cool. And, I like revisiting past episodes and stuff. So I think there's definitely a lot to like here in Paranormal Park Season 2. What about Season 2 versus Season 1 for you guys? Not that important to compare them or anything, but I'm just kind of curious which you liked better.
I would say I think that the surprise of how well season 1 really got me has not been overtaken yet by season 2. Also, I gotta the musical episode of season 1 was so good, and you really feel it missing after this season. There's a couple of good original music bits in this season, but the power of the full musical episode, to the point where I think in the previous podcast we were like, if you wanted to just watch that one, that would be okay, because how good it was. So there wasn't really a specific episode that rose to that. So that would be my main reasoning for picking season 1. Like I said, season 2 is fine. You could make the argument maybe that it's more consistent than season 1, but I think season 1 had higher highs.
Delaney, what about you?
I mean, I agree, and it's that season 1 just has that new magic, and then again, you can't top the musical episode. It's too good.
Yeah, I think I also am on season 1. I do think season 2 is probably quote unquote better written. I said, it's really impressive at the end. Everything tying together, everything feeling important. All the arcs are incredible. But I agree, season 1 just felt really special. And I think in this type of show, sometimes it's whoa, this incredible new show. And then I maybe Kipo felt this way too, even though I thought season 2 was. Even though season 2 is the best season to Kipo, it's just season 1 felt so special. And then it's okay, you're coming in with the season 2 very quickly, similar Netflix, similar format, episode order. And it's oh, okay, well, I feel settled in now, in the second season. So I don't know. It's a weird effect, I think. And again, I agree that we were missing the musical episode. I was wondering if it would be a 1 per season thing when I got to the end. I didn't know. But I mean, that would have been probably too much for them to do.
It probably would have made me feel 5% better if Pugsley died and it was a musical episode.
To be a tragic death song.
He got his tragic death song.
He did get his song.
Yeah. I don't know if his intent is that they play it, yeah. So they get at least a 1 song. Will we get, if there's a season 3, will we get another musical episode at the end of the show?
I think we deserve one.
I hope so. Patrick Stump is still around in this season, so
yeah, maybe.
Or at least, and definitely at least another song.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay. Any? Yeah. So the general thoughts there on season 2. Let's talk about the big lore stuff in the finale. I think that's what people are going to be sitting on. I mean, probably a lot of people binged right away and it's old news by now, but it's only been a week. We can go over the things while they're still somewhat fresh at the end. What did we think? I think these are the 2 big reveals. I mean, there's a lot of big things that happen, but these are twists, I guess. This first one certainly is a big twist. The Watcher, the angel we see at the end of season 1, is built up kind of gradually throughout the season, and then it is revealed that he is future Pugsley.
Time travel paradoxes.
Yay!
Well, Delaney, what was your reaction to this?
I was kind of shocked. Tanya had picked up on it.
What's there to pick up on?
The voice actor.
Yes.
He sounded similar, so that's how she figured that out. But she wasn't she didn't know. She wasn't 100%.
Yeah. Alex, were you surprised?
A little bit. I think it began clicking for me once he began having the premonitions and the Watcher was showing up in his premonitions, that began to feel suspicious. But yeah, I guess I don't recall there being time traveling stuff in the first season, unless I'm misremembering. But it felt okay, this is already a bunch of magic demon stuff, so just throwing that into it's yeah, okay, I guess that's a thing in here too. Just figuring out how the loop works. It was especially the scene where they go back to Pugsley and Barney being united for the first time, and Pugsley's in the little bots, and they get to reuse that scene a couple of times in that episode. It's cute, and also it was effective.
We go back in the past to traumatize Pugsley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked when this happened. I didn't get spoiled. I was very happy about that. I think it's very impactful. I think it's really fun. I think maybe feels a little silly. It could be.
I mean, the fact that the most magical powerful sorcerer and the multiplane is a dog is a bit ridiculous, but like whatever.
Yeah, I mean whatever. I think thinking about this twist, I think it's really good and really well set up, and they once
they do set it up really well.
Yeah, and once you're like, oh, the visions he was having with the ring, and that ties into what's going on there. And when you go, and I loved them going back and revisiting all the episodes, including season 1 episodes. I think that was really well done. Yeah. So I think it's like really, it's like in that regard, it's like a really good twist. The only thing I'm like a little iffy on is like why Pugsley specifically needs to be the Watcher from their perspective. I didn't
just like accidentally ended up with magic.
Right. And it's like, is he, when he got Tem Lucas's magic, is he the most powerful being in the universe? I didn't think that was a thing. I don't
know. It's definitely unclear.
Right. Like if he's the only one capable of becoming the Watcher, then it's like, whoa, I'm not sure I don't know if the season convinced me that it needed to be Pugsley, to fulfill this, but it maybe it was like it just turned out this way. But then it's like, Fingers orchestrated everything.
Yeah. Also, Fingers is so creepy.
I love Fingers.
Okay, we can talk about Fingers. Your Fingers stan, Alex?
I mean, I like his look. I like his creepiness. I like that he just like pops up everywhere, even though like he's a giant hand. Like, it's the right amount of weirdness and creepiness to be a villain for. But like at the beginning of the season, like they're trying to frame it as like, oh, I'm just here because like I want to help out. I'm like, but also the fact that like at the end of the season, we already saw that one angel looked kind of creepy. So it's like, oh, maybe, I guess just everybody from the angel world looks creepy. I guess we got to deal with this. Maybe they're good and they just look creepy. But then it becomes more clear as time goes on. There's
just has like immense
shady
White Diamond like vibes.
Yeah.
Fingers is White Diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah. So creepy bad or creepy good for you?
Creepy bad. Terrifying.
Creepy bad in a good way.
Yeah. I think for me, Fingers' introduction I like that, and I like that he sticks around. That's another example of the season being really well orchestrated. And then I like him in the finale episodes. There's the highlight is when in like the finale he's chasing after the non-main characters. I don't know, before they get into the elevator, and it's like some incredible animation with like the hand running.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed Courtney nodding himself up. That was the best. That was good.
Yeah. And then the veiny Fingers in the last episode. I will say in between the ending and his first episode, I don't know if I was a big fan of Fingers and his presence on the show.
He's a creeper.
But it ended up being worth it for sure, regardless. But he's
like quote unquote God's right hand.
Yes, and I do, and he ends up. We could have this as a big reveal too. Fingers is hands of the head angel, at least the head angel of this level.
Yeah, I feel weird saying that the heads of them are the god and devil, because like it doesn't at this point this doesn't really fit with like any type of mythology really. It's just its own thing, but
right.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're going for a specific matching to.
Also, they were only on floor 4.
Right, so there could be ones above.
That's true too. I mean,
yeah. So this is Payel, I guess, is as Fingers mutters when he's dying. I guess is his boss / person he's an appendage to. So Payel probably our villain of the last season, but there could be people above him for all we know. Yeah. And we get further clarification on the whole elevator and the levels, the floors, and kind of what's going on there and the whole mythology with the show. So I think, and another big reveal I think for me was we have this mystery with Courtney the whole season. Where's Courtney from? And then we figure out Courtney is a fallen angel.
Duh.
Yeah. What was your reaction to this one, Delaney?
I mean, if she's not a demon, that was kind of like the assumption that she has to be an angel, but then it's kind of like, what happened? What? Like, and then it's like, did she just break? Like, what?
Yeah, we don't know the specifics yet we meet kind of the circular angels, and then Courtney is fallen because her horns, I guess, were once a circle. Alex, what do you think?
So, like, on the one hand, I'm into it because, like, it does explain a bit of why Courtney is more willing to go along with helping out the like if we're again, this might be like just pasting the general usual mythology around angels, but if the idea is that, like, in an ideal world angels want to help, then it makes sense that Courtney was willing to go along with the situation. But, like, on the other hand, I feel like it kind of diminishes then the win of Courtney as a demon, like, being won over to, like, Barney and Norma's side, and, like, stopping the demon war. Like, it like, there's no longer, like, it was truly a rebellion, or, like, it's just like she is subconsciously doing the job that she's supposed to be doing. Like, so, like, that's, like, a thing where I'm not sure I'm totally into that necessarily, but, like, I think it makes sense. That's where I'm at. Like, it makes sense, but, like, I'm not sure I like that it makes sense.
I haven't really thought about it on that level yet. Did the show bring that up, or is this you extrapolating from?
This is me extrapolating because, like, I don't know that I don't think necessarily we're supposed to think that, like, angels are good or demons are, like, I think it does make clear that demons are not totally bad. Like, they want to do their own thing, but it's unclear if, like, the angels, like, taking it upon themselves to regulate the world is, like, totally an evil thing, or, like, a thing that needs to happen to some extent. They're just overreaching. Like, that part, like, what the role of the angels is, I'm still not totally clear, and so that's why I'm like, so the fact that Courtney is, like, it helps out with that in first season, like, it has a different light now that we know she's an angel.
Yeah, it's interesting that Courtney's actions in the first season in a new light. My personal interpretation of the angel, I think you're supposed to like, oh, they're angels, they're good in the beginning of the season. And it's like slowly like, oh, are they angels? And then in the finale, I feel like it's they're full on fascists in the last two episodes, like pruning undesired outcomes, think giant villainous fingers, enslaving the fallen angels, I feel like this is full heel turn. Angels are bad in our eyes. So I see, Norma at the end going to the demons to attack the angels as like, we're on her side. At least I was in that moment. What do you think, Delaney?
I mean, they're definitely going very, like, order versus chaos.
Yeah.
And it's how, like, the answer is, like, somewhere in the middle, but we have to, like, play this little game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is probably ultimately what it is. It's like, there's probably some good angels, some good demons, some bad demons, etc. But I don't know. I definitely left. This could just be me personally. I definitely left the season much more on the demon side than the angel side.
Well, that's the thing too. Is, like, I mean, when you think, there seems to be, like, a lot more demons.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We haven't really seen a lot of angels outside of the finale episodes.
And, like, we've been to more than one, like, quote unquote demon worlds.
Yeah, true.
Like, angel. So I'm not really sure, like, their deal.
Yeah, maybe it's just floor 4. Yeah, who knows?
Also, like, I don't, since you brought up Norma coming to the demons there, like, that bringing back to the idea of Dark Norma being a thing in season 3, like, what she's doing there is, like, she's setting up this, like, giant war that Pugsley is having a premonition about the entire season. So, like, even if he's not the Watcher, Norma is kind of, like, putting this into motion that it'll kind of still happen anyway, and they'll have to figure out a different way to resolve it than they would have if Pugsley had become the Watcher. To be fair,
Pugsley, like, resolved it by, like, killing everyone.
Right, so that's probably not the most efficient way to resolve the giant universal war.
The war's over. Everyone's gone.
No, but I'm saying is, like, Norma appealing to the head demon to go fight against the angels. I think there's still going to be a war that happens anyway.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good call, maybe in some form, but
also, like, they can't. I mean, they show us, like, supposedly who would be, like, the demon queen. Granted, they tell us that they're like, we just made all of that up. Like, it's all, we just made it up.
Right, yeah, so they arbitrarily assign themselves the royal family. But
I do enjoy that. That's funny.
Yeah, I like that. But yeah, it's probably some form of conflict. I think, Dark Norma aside, I don't think Norma will escalate it to the point of mass casualties. I have faith in her to not try to take it that far. That being said, I mean, is it, I think the finale raises the questions. Is something like that justified when the angels are controlling everyone's destinies? I mean, that probably deserves some sort of a large uprising to this extent. And I guess without the Watcher, they're compromised. I don't know, but the fact that they're willing to do all that, it's really not a good look. So I understand where we're coming from with ends here.
Also, we destroyed the prison, so
yes, freed the prisoners. Is the prison dead? I don't remember. Did the whole thing go down?
Yes.
Okay.
It exploded.
Good. Prison abolition. We love it. Okay. Let's start where we leave off at the end of the finale. Let's talk, because there's a lot of stuff happening here. So the Pugsleys sacrifice themselves, but then right at the end we hear Pugsley saying, "Where am I?" or something like that, right? So
yeah,
Pugsley alive in some form. Where's Pugsley?
So this is like another question I have. Like, in this world where there are demons and angels, and you can transfer between realms, is an afterlife like separate from all this? Is that just another level?
Which we do have that where they're trying to pop on Barney ascending or whatever, accepting.
Oh yeah.
And then the ex-husband gets it. So I don't know. That seems different.
Ghosts can move on. When we were in the demon world in season 1, was there ever anything about the fact that these are former humans? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah, my interpretation of the whole angel demon thing here, and I've seen a few shows do this, we like the angel demon aesthetic, but it's not that we're associating it in any substantial way with the kind of Christian mythology. So there's no necessarily correlation between someone dying and being a demon. It could all be separate in this world.
Yeah, yes. I think a lot of it is they might do stuff that's more to make jokes, but I don't think there's anything very clear.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of levels. Maybe one of the levels is the afterlife, but not necessarily the demon city at the bottom is hell. I don't think it's
right.
That corresponds.
And it's all blurry when it's where am I? So it feels more like limbo. I don't know where we are. I can't tell what form I am right now. It could be something like that.
Some sort of limbo. I like that call. Pugsley's in the in between. Yeah. Some form.
Which we were in the in between in season 1.
Oh yeah, this show had its own in between. I was joking and referencing Yalas, but he could literally be in the in between.
That was Barney in the tunnels or something like that. I forgot about
that. That's probably a great call. Is the most likely place Pugsley is. And then and the show loves to tie everything and bring stuff back. So I could totally see that. Okay, Pugsley may be in the in between. Fingers is cut off by Payal at the end.
Good.
Which is an interesting move if you're Pale, because this is Fingers was doing your work, right? Even if he failed. So
yeah.
I feel the look from Pale is not, it's not accomplish my goals at a cost. It's I have this system of you fail me, you get cut off. It's kind of interesting character they're setting up here. So yeah, and any immediate Pale theories for moving forward?
I don't know. He looks creepy.
Yeah.
He's always in the shadow. I feel I couldn't get a handle for
he has a really big head.
What it is.
I know. And the structure of this angel, their role, anything like that. Yeah, I feel the best sense I got is, I said, the kind of moral system that they have at the ends, which should be interesting. I was interested in this one. Barney goes off with Logs at the end, and they drive off somewhere.
Yeah, what?
Bye, Barney.
Yeah, bye, Barney.
You're gone from season 3, I guess.
Well,
I like a Barney Logs road trip.
They were talking about summer ends.
Okay.
Which obviously, if it's just the end of summer is the end of season 3, that's fine. But...
So they think Pugsley's dead, right? So Barney needs some space, yeah. I guess. Yeah. How long, as always with shows, it's like, how long are they separated, Delaney? How long are we going to do this?
Oh.
I give it 3 episodes.
Yeah, I'd give that. Got to get Barney Normal back together. So that, yeah, but I like that. We'll talk about him in Logs more. Norma is got Dead End back up and running and does like a test run with Barbara. That's fun. Let's go back to the original purpose of the show, is they're working at the Dead End attraction. But yes, we've been discussing Norma goes down, and Tamalukas, Zagan, and their mother beseeches them to fight against the angels. So yeah, interesting move from Nora. Yeah, you guys, Delaney, bring up dark Nora. I don't know. Are we supposed to see it this way? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but it's interesting. Like, what is this going to entail?
Yeah, is this like the result of her character arc? Is she's like going for it more, right? Like, is that? I think that's part of what's going on.
Well, I think also just they're all hurt.
Yeah, it is. It's very fast. There's a lot to process at the end of the episode, and then it's like, okay, what state is Norma in now after these traumatic events? How long has it been? Norma's though is right there with Zagan at the end, setting up season 3. So that is very interesting for the Norma Zagan ship hopes. Delaney, is this a real thing, Norma Zagan? Like, do you think the show would actually do this?
I don't know. See, the tweet we're going to talk about in a minute has thrown a wrench.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Yeah, I will say, I was like wondering about the ages, but then they make clear that Zagan was turned at 16.
Yes.
So he's eternally 16. And then at some point they call Norma 17, which I forgot about. And so the ages could work here.
She celebrated 16th for 1,000-something years, right? Is that what's going on? Yeah. Falling in love with a vampire is always complicated with stuff like this.
Oh, the Twilight.
Twilight season 3. Yes. Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, I think I'll at least explore this. I mean, we really set it up here.
And then Badyah is like, "Oh no, I do like Norma," and Badyah's like, "This is my fault. I set them up." Drama.
Yeah, let's talk about that now.
That could be a whole 2-episode thing.
Since we're already talking about this, any other thoughts on the ending stuff?
Bring back Pugsley.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get Pugsley back.
The Watcher design was cool, and his whole vibe was cool, and I don't think there's a way to get that back for season 3, but it had a good run.
Yeah, I like the Watcher. It was really intriguing at the end of last season. I agree, I had a good run. I assume we'll move on to bigger and probably not better angels, but it's hard to be worse than the Watcher. It's kind of controlling everything like that.
Yeah, I guess we don't really have with fingers cut off. Like, we don't have a setup for like another like we just have the big bad of Pale. We don't really have anybody else to.
And they presumably don't know about Pale.
Yeah, they don't know. I think the setup is Pale. Yeah, but
I mean, I guess we didn't know about Fingers in season 1. It just showed up.
He just showed up.
So.
Right, but it could, Fingers is easier for the fingers to show up than the whole body. Right, so I think we're getting hard to see the Pale being like an every episode thing instead of just like a thing at the end. But we're wondering, is there a known above Pale? What's the demon's role?
That's true too. Maybe Pale isn't the big bad. Maybe there's another bigger bad out there.
Yeah, I'm wondering because we're clearly on floor 4, so I think that's kind of interesting. But yeah, so we can get into, I think this is the number one thing Delaney wants to talk about, so we'll talk about Norma's crush, and then we can talk about Norma being bi right after this, and kind of, obviously related. But Norma's big character arc this season, at least in terms of the plot, is so where were we in last podcast, right? Like, I think we were like, are Norma and Badyah going to be a thing? I think we were questioning it.
Yes, well, it's hinted at a little bit in the finale.
Yeah, but I don't know if I feel like I probably said no. I don't remember though. But we start the season, it's like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Like, Norma has a crush on Badyah, episode 2. I love how the show went right into it. Like, and with Barney and Logs. That I definitely love about this season.
Also, what a gay thing to do is just tell you I love you, like, 10 minutes into the relationship. Good job, guys.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Well, Dylan, how do you feel about people falling in love while doing a podcast together?
Oh man, episode 2 was made for me. I
was like, of course they're doing a podcast.
Yeah, we can talk about this now, but this season, I mean, the Dead End is known for its like incredible representation, and obviously the best representation this season, and I felt so spoken for was that of a podcaster. Like, what amazing podcaster representation. No show we've ever covered has had such amazing podcaster representation as Dead Ends. I feel so seen.
Oh my god.
All that sexy sound editing footage. Ooh,
I can't believe Norma was editing the podcast episode 2 with sound waves on the screen. I loved it so
I will
much.
say it was great, but like Gord was just also okay. The character of the season is Gord.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your favorite Gord moment?
What does Gord do?
Well, he gets everybody to come help them in the finale.
Yeah, I think for me the best Gord scene in this episode 9. Norma's like, Gord's gonna go tell everyone, and there's like action music, and then he just like flushes himself down the toilet or something, or like.
He was like, he's like, find a way out, and he goes down the toilet.
Yeah, and it's like, oh no.
Now the best is when Gord makes it back to Dead End, and the elevator opens, and he just makes like an air raid siren sound.
Oh yeah, like, well, yeah, you got to go help. He was actually helpful there. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was so good, like A+.
Yeah, they'll go a lot of good fun Gord stuff here. I agree. And yeah, Norma and Badyah podcasting together. Paranorma with Badyah and Norma. What do we think of the name of this podcast?
It's terrible, but it's great.
I think Badyah should fight for representation in the name of the podcast. Right now, it's just Norma.
You know, but Norma's the host and Badyah's the co-host.
We're gonna change our podcast name to Overly Dylan.
Yeah, got to get my name in there, right? Every podcast name should have my name in it.
It could be like Rick and Morty episode.
Yeah, we're gonna do Rick and Morty episodes with all the hosts of that
Rick
podcast names are in.
Also did podcast.
Yeah, Rick and Morty also did a podcast.
I haven't watched yet. I'm ready.
I know you need to see it. I can't remember even what they podcasted on, but it was.
They had ripped abs and they were doing ad reads. That's all they
did. Yeah.
Okay, I did see a preview with the abs. Okay,
I'm glad that we're finally like realizing that podcasting exists and is a major form of what the average person does when they don't really know what to do, but they like have opinions on things, right? So
yeah, they're like, I have opinions and I have a special interest. I'm going to start a podcast.
This is such an underserved plotline activity in all forms of media.
Also, I should shout out the most recent season of Harley Quinn. Also has a character doing a podcast. The short guy, Dr. Psycho. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, we're doing it. We're doing podcast. Okay, we love the
podcast.
Everything. Fall in love on a podcast. Oh my gosh, we love it so much. Okay, but so Norma has a crush. Then episode 5, Norma's trying to confess to Badyah. Then Badyah says she's straight, and then
which is like the worst thing that's ever happened.
We'll talk about it. And then episode 6,
the reverse Kipo.
Badyah's trying to set up Norma with a reverse Kipo. Yeah, so it is.
I had to pause it, like when they're talking about Sagan and whatever her boyfriend's name is, and then I was like, oh no. I was like, Badyah, no.
Right. It's like Badyah, no, but at the same time, I guess she was on it. Just right, like
yeah. It
kind of worked out.
Like,
yeah.
Geez, Badyah.
I feel like that's like a realistic reaction to the well-intentioned friends in this situation.
Look, matchmaking is never the answer.
Yeah, if we've learned from these shows. And then in episode 7, you think Norma is like still on about the Badyah feelings, but no, it's that she's bi and wants to talk about that. And then, I mean, where do we leave off with this, Delaney?
With Badyah and Norma?
And Norma, yeah.
I mean, I feel like, Norma just needs some space. think I mean,
yeah, she got her space in 7 and she comes back and they're good now, right? So Norma's like practicing lines
so.
when she's walking in to say.
Yeah, and then they're like, and she already has like their outings planned.
Yeah. So they're good now. Yeah. One of their lines she's practicing. I'm sorry that you're straight, and she doesn't go with that one.
She should have gone with that one.
You would have gone with that one.
I would. True.
Yeah. So
it's very savage, which is in line with the Norma's personality. Sometimes it's very direct and to the point.
Yeah, I wouldn't say intentionally savage. I think she's, for the most part, unintentionally savage. But we can set up these tweets I saw on Hamish Steele's Twitter, and then we can get Delaney's takes on it. So I thought this was the most notable part of all the outside stuff I've seen. So Hamish says, in one particular storyline, which I don't want to spoil, we can talk about later. If you know, you know, and if you don't, I hope let's appreciate that sometimes you got to balance. Let's give the gays everything they want. With this type of queer experience, rarely gets told. The storyline is based on something I went through, and all I'll say is that it isn't intended to be the end of it. My version had a happy ending, and this one will too, but we need to get through the rough patch first. Sometimes you know others better than they know themselves.
It sounds like Badyah's gay.
Right. So before that, it's like, you got to get through the rough patch. Well, by the end of the season, they got through the rough patch because they're good, right? Like Badyah and Norma, they're friends again. But then that last line, this was honestly, Delaney, I'm interested in you. This was kind of my interpretation of the end of the Ferris wheel episode. Badyah's like, I'm straight, I think, you know? So I'm like,
she goes into like this whole little thing about it.
I'm like, she totally could not be straight.
Right.
Like, they're pretty young.
Which I will say, as someone who had a similar experience, I was like, I'm not gay. And then a girl showed interest in me, and I was like, wait, am I gay?
Right, and maybe it takes a little bit for that process at the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, is that where we're going in season 3? Is it not? Is it that, Norma and Zagan are hanging out, and then Badyah's like, actually, I'm jealous of this after all, and actually, I'm
about it. And then Zagan's going to be like, you're a human, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think Zagan will be that heartbroken. Could just be Norma liking Zagan one-sided or something. But yeah, Delaney, you had a big reaction to Badyah being straight, but like, what about your analysis, kind of how this was handled by the show?
Well, it was done really well. I don't know. I was kind of getting that sinking feeling because of like, one, they just kept doing it. Granted, there was like all sorts of things going wrong with this Ferris wheel ride, and then also the focus with Pugsley being like, "I don't want you to get hurt," which is like, "Oh, so sweet."
Yeah. And then I love Norma's line, Norma to Pugsley at the end of the episode, being like, "It's okay sometimes."
Yeah, she's like, "Do I need to get like? Do you need permission?" Like,
yeah, I give you permission for my feelings to get her. I did really like that.
And like, this is a thing. It's a thing that happens. It happened in Kipo. It's just reverse.
Yeah. Delaney, I liked this that Badyah was like, I'm straight. Like,
it makes sense.
I do feel like this is like an underrepresented reality, like from the queer experience.
It is, and shows have been doing this thing where it's so people are like, obviously people are bi, like that's the thing, but like you have like a love triangle, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna solve this by making one of you bi. Like, that's been a thing that's been happening with television. And so, which is like, I feel like it's very unrealistic, and they need to stop doing that. But then this is something that happens a lot. I'm straight, and it's like, darn it, like.
Right, like I think these kids shows go for, the few we've had with the substantial queer rep. We go for the happy ending. We go for the person does like you back.
Which is good. We like happy endings.
Which we like more often than not, though. It's not that. It's this, right? Like it's this show. It's the person is straight and they're not into you, and I'm okay with more happy endings and it not exactly reflecting reality. But I feel like this is a very valuable story to be told. Like, Dead End to me is like the queer rep show, the queer young show of this time period. And I will say my analysis of the season, I was like astounded by how just casually queer it was constantly.
Yes.
And I totally think this show, that is like the queer show, should have this experience reflected. I feel like it makes a ton of sense, at least from my perspective.
Also, we can't all be dating each other at this like theme park. You should date people you work with, guys. Like,
it's very clean. We go for the two ships, the two of the main characters type of thing.
I guess also like this show is very it's giving especially in this season, giving everyone a very supportive environment to come up in. Like Norma, it ends up being pretty nice. The experience of coming out to her mom, like her mom is just like immediately very supportive, and she's got Logs as well to talk through with that experience. And you've also got Barney, who, like, obviously in the first season, we went through his struggles with his family, but in season 2, it seems like they're on, like, at least okay terms. So, like, just this season on the whole has been was very clean with making sure everybody's, like, supported. So that's why, like, it's interesting seeing the tweet of, like, you gotta balance, let's give the gays everything they want. Because I think the season was pretty much, outside of the, getting rejected by someone straight, like, everything else, it does feel, let's give the gays everything they want. So that's why I'm, like, thinking, like, if you make it so that in season 3, Badyah like figures out her own queerness, like it's a supportive environment for sure, but like if this is the one like rough patch and then we get there, I think that the whole show is let's give the gays everything they want, like then everybody has a happy ending. Which I think is most shows with queer representation, like most children's shows with queer representation. Like you mentioned, like there's been a lot of happy endings. So, yeah, I would just say I'd be interested to see if they stuck with this, like with Badyah being straight.
Definitely a good point that Barney had a lot of strife in season 1. There's a lot of trauma explored there, and that's mostly not the focus of this season. And yeah, this is the main kind of traumatic queer thing that's explored by the show. And that's a great point. Like maybe we shouldn't resolve this by Badyah being like, actually, I'm not straight in season 3. I'm kind of not sure. Delaney, what do you think is the best way to go with this?
I mean, I personally think they should date because they should. But I mean, I think in this case it's like either or. Like this is one of those things where I don't think it has like the greatest bearing, or I don't know, like, I'm also past, like, making things sad for no reason.
Yeah, I feel that, but I think that you can stick to this,
yes, like,
not doing them, and it's not sad.
Yeah, like, this isn't, like, the worst thing ever that's ever happened. Or maybe she realizes she likes girls, but Norma has moved on. Which, that happened to me. Like, that's what happened in my case.
Yeah, that I actually could really see that, yeah. But Norma's moved on with Dagan or someone else, or or doesn't want to date anyone right now. See, yeah, seeing this,
I don't think them getting together would like, I'm trying to think what the word. I don't want to say reverse, but I don't think it would necessarily reflect badly on the scene here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think it like cancels it out.
Yeah, I agree with. I think that like you can still have an ending, a happy ending, but the journey is still real in getting there, and that is still we still explored the space, even if
also this is like the Dolly Parton theme park. They can all be gay. It's fine.
Yeah. So I really like kind of exploring this here. I mean, I don't know if we saw it coming that they were going to so blatantly go in this direction. I think that
I was really shook that it was thought that Norma was like, yeah, I like you. I was like, what? This never happens.
Something is like for all the, like coming outs that we've gotten to see in animation, just hearing the words "I'm straight" is also like not really.
She's very brave for coming out as straight in 2022.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, okay.
Even it's still a big deal that Norma's like, I'm bi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go.
A lot of these shows and a lot of like, particularly like shows that we have covered, there's fantasy stuff going on. Sometimes they say their feelings. Sometimes they just kiss. So, it's kind of different for like, we get to declare our sexualities. Granted,
right.
Of course, this is also like, we would call this, this and the Owl House are like, the closest to like real, this sounds ridiculous because of the subject matter of these shows, but like real world, like they're set in our world with like nonsense around it.
Yeah. And yeah, we can get into Norma saying she's bi in episode 7. Definitely related to this discussion. And without getting into spoilers for another show, which obvious, evident comparisons here, but we're not going to get into spoilers.
Yeah, so many comparisons.
Yeah,
I have for that.
So, Norma, like, so first of all, it's like Norma has a crush on Badyah, and then we get to episode 7. It's like, no, actually, Norma's specifically saying she's bi. I was shocked by this too. I didn't know. I didn't get spoiled. Like, oh my gosh, like, Norma says she's bi. She says it many times.
So happy for her.
Happy for her. I love how the episode handled it. Her and Logs talking about their experiences. Logs isn't out to his mom. He mentioned Asian parents. Norma just like, obviously can't be understated. I've never seen a character in a kids animated show say they're bi like this, like multiple times, like out loud. I was shocked, and it's like incredibly meaningful. And we've gone from these shows never like specifically mention labels, and I think recently we're seeing that they're capable. But before, like recently, it's like we don't talk about labels, and I think it's very realistic, especially for young people. A lot of young people just identify as queer in general, right? Like, and so I think that's so valid too. But like getting into the specific label of what specific enumerating your identity out loud and definitively and in a way that relates to those closest to you. I thought it was so beautiful. And yeah, I literally never thought we would see this. Like, I don't know. I just we've go ahead.
Well, on the flip side of that, to me, it felt so mundane, and that's what I liked about it.
It felt very mundane, and it's like in like a totally like human like family storyline, and I loved that.
Her and Logs just like having that conversation in the bedroom, like that feels like something like like just teens. Like it's just like such a natural setting for it. It feels right. So it comes up there.
Well, just how much progress we've made, like with anime, like all the shows we've covered. Like this didn't. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, cool.
I know, and it's like, obviously not every show, no show is dead end. I mean, we've never seen a show be able to be this free with what it's exploring. And, most shows don't have the freedom of, at least in this example of what Netflix provides here. But, in season 1, Barney says he's trans out loud like this, and we explore that space in a way that we haven't seen from a show like this before. High Guardian Spice also shout out there, and then like we continue exploring that in this season, and Badyah says she's bi, and like never seen that, never thought we'd be capable of seeing that. It's really, it cannot be understated kind of how remarkable this is compared to like we've been talking about queer representation in kids animation on this podcast for like many years. I don't know, I didn't see it going. I didn't think we'd get to this point. I don't know, and I'm like I'm not like really pessimistic or anything, or like in this regard. It's just Dead End's remarkable. I don't know.
It really is.
Yeah.
And also recognizing like the power that they have, and like to take the space to do this.
Yeah, and like Dead End like has like it like was able to be carved out as like a queer show here, I think, in Netflix's eyes, and we really like go for it in many ways, and I like really appreciate that so much, and what we go for in so many different aspects here. And it's like not just Norma's like generally likes girls, and like that would be also great, but like she's like saying specifically bi, and we explore that experience, and her and her mom, I think it's so beautiful.
So cute.
Her mom's like, I thought you'd be cool with it, as like she's squishing her face. It's great.
And then the dolls.
And then what?
The army of dolls.
Yeah, is that related?
There was a Mean Girls reference, which we all know is a game.
Yes. Well, that's another reason why this is my favorite. What's your guys' favorite episode this season?
I really liked the wrestling episode.
Okay. That's 3. Yeah.
Yes. That's another The Trials of Barney, and also that's another Wrestling is for the Gays. That's another quote.
Yeah, that's the one of the season where Barney references being trans again, and mentioning a binder and like his being comfortable in a gym situation, like just very real things that don't get talked about a lot in this level of media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, I was going to mention next that continuing on this topic, kind of the Barney trans experience representation, mainly through this scene, which he says, he's going to this Demon World gyms because nobody cares what he looks like, which I thought was really, really beautiful, like thing to eloquently explored in such a simple manner by the show. And
I also thought they've been very respectful in the flashbacks.
Yes. Absolutely. We see his flashback to younger Pugsley and younger Barney there. And then I think the other one is just referencing that things are good with his family now. They're not talking to the grandma, but he's on a better relationship with
Maybe
with
season 3 is like God and Grandma are the villains.
Grandma's our true villain of season 3, yeah. Yeah. Alex, what about your favorite episode?
I think All Dolled Up would be a choice I'd be happy with. I also like the 1600 one, the birthday one. I thought that one was just a lot of fun, and also like has some Norma stuff too, and especially her interactions with Zagan are pretty nice. So that like group of episodes are really fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. And the finale episode's really good. But yeah, so I'm checking to see if I have other things to say about 7. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, I love it so much, All Dolled Up. I mean, it's partly Pauline, but mostly the Norma stuff.
Your obsession with Pauline is so funny.
We can talk more about that. Oh, so I was going to say the only other representation thing is Norma being autistic representation, right?
Yes.
I thought that it was very present in this season.
Yes.
Well, I'm not qualified to talk about this. I thought that from what I saw, I thought that it was like handled really well in terms of it's like very clear what the show's doing in presenting her as autistic, while at the same time showing her as like lovable, rootable protagonist who's like has tons of people that love her and she loves, and just like presenting her as this like fully fleshed out character and presenting her as autistic at the same time.
And being able to have like, I mean, she's not being very successful at the moment, but like she's capable of romance.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the yeah, definitely. And which is a whole romance plot in here, potentially multiple if the Zagan thing's real.
In season 3, Norma's like beating the ladies off with a stick. Like,
yeah,
Badyah
exactly.
and Zagan are like, Norma! And Norma's like, oh my god!
Yeah. I think episode 7 did have some great Norma autistic moments as well. So yeah, Norma's just, I do think we were heading into season 2 being like, is this the Norma season? Is this the season she's going to shine? And I do think probably she's like even more of the main character than Barney this season.
Yeah, no, we get a lot of Norma.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I really love All Dolled Up so much. Everything with Norma and her mom was incredibly explored. That character very impactful in such a short time. Just how her being bi ties into like her and her mom's relationship, and how they have the conversation in the attic about that, and then connecting.
Also, her mom is great.
Yeah, she is great. It's like she's doing all the Pauline stuff. It's like, oh, that's just to connect with Norma. I was very heartbroken at the beginning of the episode. Norma's like, I don't stand Pauline anymore. I was like, I understand, but
the pancakes were cracking me up. That was the
pancake. She says on her to-do list, publish myself, insert Pauline BFF fanfic. No, that's not a. Gotta publish. If you wrote it, you just have to publish it. Come on, you should publish it anyway. And you to send it to
you can look if it's like archive, you can just publish it and then abandon it. Like you don't even have to have your name on it. I did that.
You did that?
Yeah. I abandoned like all of my old fics.
Oh no.
It's just like my new account and the Owl House fic I wrote.
Yeah. That's Norma with her old Pauline fics.
Yes.
And the other amazing thing about 7 is in how it ties into 8. which really creatively done because you see Logs coming in and you're like, what is Logs?
Oh, and then we're like, this is why
here?
he cried, why he was like, we have to fix the chandelier.
Yes, and then you rewatch 7 after you've watched 8, and it's hilarious. I mean, it's the chandelier. That's why he's free.
Okay, so I legitimately was like, did Barney die though? Because like how Logs was acting, and then
and Norma's like, but did Barney die? And no, literally, yes.
No, literally. How many times are we gonna kill Barney? Like
once per season. We got one more to go.
One more death. Like, I do think it's very funny that Logs is just casually in there talking to Norma when Barney's dead. You realize the next episode. Like,
yeah, and I'm like, and then also like. He keeps calling, and
Badyah keeps calling, and then we integrate that. Yeah,
up, and it's like, oh my god.
I know. Like Logs is very chill. I think Logs is too chill. I think this was too chill of a reaction.
He was like hyperventilating in episode 8. So
get out of there. He had the kid. Go.
But hey, he realized that Norma was going through stuff too. It was like, good. I got something more grounded that I can focus on. That's a valid way of dealing with your problems.
It was really funny though. Like he's crying and like fixing the chandelier.
Yeah.
And then he like keeps saying like things that like don't make sense. Like
I know, and then
chandelier's the silent killer, and then like something about the Christmas lights.
It ties into, and it's really well done and really funny. But I
think they did a really good job with those 2 episodes, like together.
Yeah, I think so. Pauline quickly. I don't know. I just think she's so funny. I think her energy contrasts, I think, with everything that's going on so well. Like, I feel like the show needs the sarcastic force.
She's just so terrible.
Yeah, except that I root for. I don't care.
Well, that's fine. Well, I just think it's funny because kind of like the show's kind of really wholesome and like everything.
But yeah, they're like, oh yeah, Pauline's
and then we have evil doll
lean into it and possessing, and then she goes to the park after.
Also, like the constant obsession with like needing a body. Like it was honestly annoying. Like she was like, I need a body. Like shut up, Pauline.
I know,
like,
we can. It's good. We go back to that, and then her big moment in the finale when she stops them from falling. And
she's like, I'm redeemed.
I saved everyone. I'm finally redeemed. Yep, I agree. And
then Norma's like, no.
Yeah, Norma's like, no. It's so good. I love that moment at the end.
Also, leaving everything to Barbara, wild.
Yeah, that's a good move in the beginning. That's true. Right, that's the opening scene. Yeah, let's keep Doll Pauline in all of season 3.
Really about Doll Pauline, like it's really funny, and also that she like hid in her backpack.
Yeah,
and then like. She gets like knocked into Badyah like flips a ball onto her. So funny.
Alex, any Pauline thoughts?
Not Pauline specifically, but like you mentioning that like the energy was kind of missing for a lot of the season. I think that that's also compounded by the fact that like also Courtney, like in the first season, she's also a source of like a lot of gremlin antagonistic energy, and like because of her arc in this season of like eventually getting to figure out she's a fallen angel, like she doesn't get as many of those moments either. So like there is a little bit missing of like the mean person of the squad. Like there's nobody who's like to the point where like when that one episode where they're cloning each other and they have like evil Barney and evil Norma, like that brought the energy for a little bit. But and
you have like super nice therapist Courtney, so good.
Yeah, that was a good bit. But like just over the course of the season, there wasn't like a consistent source for that, and so that's also like something that felt missing compared to season 1, where that was always around.
I agree, and we can talk about the Courtney storyline from the season.
And now we can just have Pocket Pauline, who just
Pocket Pauline.
Yeah, she'll do. She'll be fine.
But no, why did we get rid of Courtney's mean girl energy this season?
Yeah,
she's trying to be good.
Like I'm glad, I'm happy for her, but
I mean, she did like succeed in and also fail at dipping out multiple times. So
yeah, I mean, I think she's still Courtney. You know, like I'm not gonna be too extreme about this, but like you know, I like Courtney to me was the standout character of season 1. And I didn't really feel that way about season 2. I thought she had some good moments, but for the most part, a subdued Courtney season.
This was more Norma, and then there was just, honestly, like, everyone was a little bit more background. We focused on Norma, and also there was just kind of a lot going on.
A lot of Pugsley, too. I think that a lot of Pugsley focus kind of took away from other people here.
The show is about Pugsley.
Courtney, first, were there any Courtney moments in particular, Alex?
I think in the party, she's got some fun stuff going on. She's executing the unauthorized portals, like again, yeah. Rick and Morty stuff, right? And I did find a little endearing. Like she finally finds somebody else like her, the blue version of her. It's like, oh wow, I gotta like figure this out. Like, oh, other people like me, and so that I think that's a good setup for the reveal at the end of the season. I think her leading the fallen angel revolution was pretty good.
It was like, sandwiches.
Yeah, using their desire for the lunch breaks more often than once every 100 years or however.
500. It was 500 years. 500. It was brutal.
Yeah. They needed something a little more than that. So
I felt really bad for the guy who didn't get his sandwich.
Very sad. Yeah, that was good. Good stuff with Courtney with the revolution. I agree. Courtney's the support group we mentioned. Yeah, that's good.
And then the Watcher is like, "You're going to commit treason against your own kind." And she's like, "Good."
Wow.
And she unleashes everybody.
Yeah, it's good. Will we see other Courtneys in season 3 if they're all free now?
Probably.
At least the blue one, I hope.
He was kind of a character, yeah.
She's just been like doing magic. So like, is she gonna start doing like angel magic? Like,
right? Was her I guess her magic was demon magic, but she's capable of angel magic.
Super unclear. Well, I think she also just does whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I maybe even more so than any character. I'm very interested if we get the season 3, what Courtney's storyline will be, because I feel like she's at a very interesting place now.
Yeah.
Learning her true identity. What does that mean for her sense of self? What does that mean for how she's gonna react in the world?
Also, I just want to comment on the meta of it being a very good pull to get Haley Joel Osment as the blue guy, since Courtney is voiced by his sister.
Oh, nice.
I think that's just like very, very good work there by the casting director.
Has to be back now, blue. Yeah. Nice. Okay, how about Pugsley learning magic from fingers this season?
He needs to stop learning magic from questionable sources.
Delaney, any favorite Pugsley moments?
Oh, it's not really a Pugsley moment, but the evil fork, the evil spoon is really good.
Yeah, the whole dinner.
That comes back in other.
There's so many times the evil spoon is there. It's great.
Yeah.
Alex, anything Pugsley?
I think that episode where he keeps reversing time to try to stop it, like, that's a good Pugsley episode. It's like he's realizing the power he has, but also he's gotta like just let things happen sometimes. So
he's just exhausted.
Yeah. So like, I think that's a good Pugsley moment. In general, like the first half of the season is kind of a little. In my opinion, it gets a little tired of like Pugsley feeling like I can't do anything. Like I need to be more useful to the group. Like it got a little wary on me, but like it kind of goes away because he does eventually control his magic or gets stronger at it, so it becomes less of an issue. But that particular plot line was not clicking with me.
Yeah, I didn't get too much out of the fingers Pugsley, but I think that the Ferris wheel one, I think is really good.
I have an actual one.
Yes.
I just liked him a lot in the wrestling episode, especially when he's like acting like he's like, "Is there another dog?"
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
And he goes from like not wanting Barney to wrestle to being like, "No, you have to let him do it."
Yeah, that's good. I just remembered also in the Sweet 16 episode, Pugsley and Lucas's new flesh vessel. Yeah.
And they're like having a drink and like talking. So good. A+.
Yeah, I guess Lucas is just in the sky now.
Yeah, he's just the sky.
Yeah, that's good. We talked a lot about Queer Up, and we didn't even that much get into Barney and Logs, so we can talk about that now. But we have the episode 2 with the evil twins, Barney says love to Logs and they're FaceTiming, but then at the end, Logs says I love you back to Barney. And they're really just casually saying I love you so much this season. It's kind of remarkable.
It's good stuff. Very classically gay.
When is the Lumity I love you? That's what this makes me
That's a good question. I will say they're 14.
Yeah, I do forget that these are like older children. I was like, Norma's 17.
Is Barney also 17?
Good question. I assume either somewhere.
Yeah, I would just assume they're all like.
Yeah, he's 17, says Wikipedia.
Okay.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a more mature relationship, but yeah, I mean, he and Logs just generally cute. I think the dinner, so the Logs meeting Barney's parents, I think there's a lot of good stuff in there as well.
Oh my, his like awkward smile is like the worst thing I've ever seen. Also, I need Logs to shave his face.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I have big opinions on his whiskers. I'm like, I was so mad when I don't remember which episode it is, or I think it's the dinner because Barney's talking is daydreaming at his parents' house. He's talking about Logs and he's like in his little whiskers, and I was like, no, bad.
Logs is valid. His facial hair, though. Well, stuff about Logs wanting to be an actor. We got some of that, right?
Apparently, everyone at the park wants to be an actor.
Which, from my understanding, is very accurate to theme park workers.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought because some good Barney Logs stuff this season. I think we're due maybe a big date thing with them.
I like the check-ins on like the fact that like Logs is also like figuring his way out through this. Like it seems like this is his first out. It seems like it's his first out gay relationship. So like there's like a lot of like looks into like his insecurities and like this isn't new just for Barney. Like Logs is also figuring things out. I like seeing that side also represented.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, them on the Ferris wheel, Barney super jealous. Yeah.
Also, you, Josh.
Yeah, Josh. What do we think about Josh?
Oh, that was the hint. Tanya was like, "Oh no," she was when Badyah said Josh was kind of cute. She was like, "No."
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, that's the hint. Interesting.
She can think he's cute and be bi. I'm just
true.
Yeah, might be where we're going. Any other Barney Logs stuff?
I mean, okay, this is gonna sound awful, but like. I don't know, you don't get this a lot. Like, we got to see Logs be, like, really upset that Barney died. Also, like, they've been dating, like, 10 minutes. It's like, oh my god, Barney just died.
It's dramatic, yeah.
I think also, like, there's a conversation they have where Barney's like, you just need to accept that, like, I'm gonna die every once in a while.
Yeah. It's fine.
I guess it's accurate.
Like, yeah, this is the second time. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
We briefly touched on this, but like in the conversation with Logs and Norma, like the detail of like the dynamic of coming out with Asian parents is a little different than other ethnicities. So it was I think none of us here have expertise in there, but I've heard experiences from people from Asian friends that like so it's nice to hear that called out as well.
Yeah. I like that, and I like that we gave Logs a lot of personal details, kind of in this big Norma conversation episodes. Logs not out to his mom. Mm-hmm. His little sister out to his little sister, though, right? Like, so I feel like we learn a lot about him as well, even in some small moments. We can start to get into. Any other things from the season? Alex, anything come to mind we haven't talked about that you want to get into?
Speaking of the music, in the wrestling episode, another nice part of that is that there's like a training montage song, which like, it's about par for other shows that made up montage songs, but it was still funny. Like, I
did like that song.
It's good musical comedy there. Yeah, other than that, Yeah, that's kind of. I like the look of the prison and just the look of the angel world, like very blocky, very imposing, very clean. I like the idea to give angels like physical donut halos. Like halos, you usually think like these like rings of light, but it's literally like a physical part of their head. Like I felt that was a very inspired choice to design it like that. And like just like that them being angry, it's like kind of cute, like, like um yeah. So yeah, I think that's those are my only scattered thoughts that we hadn't gotten to.
Do we like the ghosts in the Barney Dies episode?
I want to know, like, was it just a ghost orb? Is that what that deal was with
Henrietta?
Yeah, is she just a ghost orb? Because I know there was like because Norma had like a throwaway line of, "Oh, I hope it's a ghost orb."
We also had Zombie Barney.
Zombie Barney was pretty funny. I enjoyed. And then Courtney's like, "I don't see a difference."
So surprise Bill Farmer appearance. I can only think of Amphibia when I hear his voice now.
Yeah, and I did like we got I think I remembered him from our History of Pauline episodes, that husband. Nice to Chester get into him more. Yeah, well, Zagan gives Norma her 666 number. That was
that was good.
Yeah, so I guess Zagan's into it. Okay.
Oh, and Barbara has that tiger.
Barbara has that tiger?
Yeah, she got Pauline's white tiger.
Oh, okay.
That's not important, but I just suddenly remembered that was a thing.
I mean, that's pretty cool, so.
But Badyah giving Norma bowling shoes was a very
adorable,
a very sweet move.
Also, have her name on it. Like, is that not the gayest nonsense? Yeah. Like, what? I was okay, I will say I was pretty upset. Like that happened, and then she's like, "I'm straight." I'm like, "Really?" Really?
I know that was the try to lead you to it's not being possible. Yeah. Delaney, any other moments?
I feel like we've covered them all. Like, I will say, again, big standout of the season's Gord, like, for no reason.
Any other Gord stuff?
Well, when they chased him, that was pretty good. Also, you can't get rid of Gord.
When everything is destroyed and the giant war between angels and demons concludes and everything is blown up, it'll just be Gord.
Yeah, they should have had Gord came out during the Destiny 2 world. It's like, okay, so yeah, I will get more Gord, I'm sure.
Why is the universe centered on this theme park?
Because we're the neutral plane.
Just the theme park?
Well, I guess.
So there's the elevator. Oh, that was something they said, like, I mean, I don't think it's that important, but they were like, travel between planes, it has to be done through an elevator.
Right, so there's this one of many elevators, potentially. So that's pretty interesting, yeah. Delaney.
Every theme park has an elevator. So, like, Disneyland has an elevator.
Yeah, so portals to hell are all at theme parks. This makes sense. I buy it.
I would be interested to see a second elevator someday. Yeah. That's definitely on the table.
Yeah, and they're going on a road trip. They're going to go stumble upon another elevator, and Barney's going to be like, "Are you serious?"
Oh, yeah. Maybe that could be the in on that, because we know they're on the road. So that'd be pretty fun. Okay. Delaney, final thoughts here.
I really like this season. I'm excited for hopefully season 3, because they have to bring Pugsley back, because that was rude. And more music, yeah.
Okay, yeah, hope so. Alex?
Yeah, this season was very fun to talk about and to watch. I think it is important to just shout out like how unique it is and how direct it can be in representing so many different corners of queerness compared to queerdom. Is that the word?
Yeah, that's official.
Okay. But yeah, so it's done a lot there, and I think that like makes it. That alone makes this just very important to watch, but also like it does it in a way that like it's very as Delaney has mentioned multiple times, it's like in a mundane grounded way that it weaves it in.
It's just a good show.
Yeah.
Yep, great season of dead ends. The Dolled Up episode going to be one of my favorites of the year. Looking forward to season 3. Definitely hoping for musical episode maybe. Norma Badyah follow up.
The Badyah and Norma relationship for Pugsley.
For Pugsley?
Yeah, because I want him back.
He's coming back. You don't need to sacrifice anything.
I'd like to sacrifice Pugsley for a musical episode.
No,
I would do it. But he's like one of the stars of the musical episode, though.
It's true, but there's other singers out there. Give Logs more lines.
Yeah, and I'll say on my wish list, Barney Logs, kind of bigger feature.
Yeah,
that'd be up there too. Courtney, existential angst. I guess that was kind of this season, but Courtney, existential angst part 2.
That's just her constant state.
Look, there's a lot. Now that we talked through it, there's definitely a lot of interesting things we could be doing here. So, looking forward to this if we get the season 3 of Dead Ends, and let us know what you thought of season 2 and everything we talked about here. Wherever you're listening, you can leave a comment. Check out our Owl House discussion recently on the season 3 special for similar topics at some various points discussed. And you can consider supporting us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all our current patrons, especially our patron of podcast, Needle. Yay. And thanks to our star patron executive producers, Steve, Michael, and Phonician. That worked out, Needle. Dead End fans. So,
Yay.
Okay. That's will be it for our Dead End discussion. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.